So, dear Galina, dear Sasha, dear panelists and dear guests, first of all, I would like to thank you very much for the invitation here to come to this conference. I would like to thank ELDR and Yabloko and also the Naumann Foundation for organizing this conference. And I think we couldn't have found a better date for this. On Tuesday, we celebrated the International Women's Day. It was the 100th anniversary, so I think it's also the right moment to think back what happened in this 100 years. In 1911, women from Denmark, from Germany, from Austria-Hungary and also from Switzerland, they rallied for the first time in public spaces to give their claim a strong voice. A claim for participation, a claim for equal rights, a claim for self-determination. And today we are meeting here to discuss how we are opposing gender discrimination. And I think the title of the conference makes two things very clear. First, the topic is still relevant, the fight against discrimination. And second, it signifies how successful the women's movement has been since then. Therefore, I think it's a good opportunity to learn from you, from your experiences, and to learn from other panelists here. And I met Yabloko the first time during my last visit in September. We had a delegation from the German Bundestag, from my parliamentary group, the FDP. We observed the Khodorkovsky trial, we met human rights organizations, and we got a clear picture of the situation in Russia and how difficult it is for opposition parties to run in elections and to get access to media. So I'm really delighted, and it's an honor for me to be here and also to push forward your aims for democracy and also support the way to democracy. I would start with a very brief history of the German development, and I will follow up what Sasha mentioned before. What is the actual debate in Germany? And he already mentioned also within my party there's a discussion about a fixed quota, a compulsory quota. And I will also conclude what my personal position is about it. The history of women's rights in Germany is a quite short one. It begins in 1918 when women were finally allowed to study. After World War I, they gained the active and passive right to vote with the new constitution of the Weimar Republic. The rise of terrible Nazism meant an early setback for the women's movement. They lost their passive right to vote and were mainly excluded from university as well as from leading positions. The end of World War II brought changes to the situation. In 1949, West Germany's new constitution introduced Article 2, Paragraph 3. It stated for the first time in clear words that men and women shall have equal rights. And in this consequence, it had a tremendous change to the constitution, but also to the subordinate legislation in West Germany. It took, however, quite some time till German legislation was modified to comply fully with the new constitution. For the time being, men retained a superior position in marriage. Till 1958, husbands had the right to terminate their wives' job contracts without notice. Further, they disposed over the wives' money and property. Only in 1977, the last discriminating laws of this kind were abolished. In 1994, Article 2 of the Constitution was amended. The state shall promote the actual implementation of equal rights for women and men and take steps to eliminate disadvantages that now exist. Ladies and gentlemen, from a judicial point of view, there is no more women's discrimination in Germany. In 2006, the federal law on equal treatment was introduced to abolish all remaining forms of discrimination at the workplace, for example, with regard to recruitment, promotion, payment. And in a recent verdict, the European Court of Justice made clear that insurance tariffs must be equal for men and women. apart from these developments, numerous governments, including the current one, have introduced financial measures to promote work-life balance, to make it possible for women to career in their job, but also to raise children, to have a family. And these financial measures, they include transfer payments, such as a parental leave and child benefit. Parental leave for mothers and fathers. So we decided about initiatives to bring fathers an active role in education, and this parental leave entitles for a time of work to care for one's child by getting 60% of the last salary. And child benefit provides parents with monthly payments from 184 up to 215 euros per child. As a result of the efforts to strengthen the participation of women in the society, we can nowadays witness a number of promising developments. Today, women are very successful at schools and universities all over Germany. 51% of graduates are female, and very often they graduate with better marks than their fellow male colleagues. The number of women working full-time has significantly increased over the last decades. So what Galina pointed out at the beginning, the picture of a Rabenmutter, which means you are a bad mother if you work and don't stay at home, I think a lot of things changed in Germany. However, and this brings me to the most recent debate, and this is also what Sasha already mentioned, there is one feature that almost didn't change, despite all progress. Women's share in leading positions in economy, science, and public administration. Women's share is in stark contrast to their education. In Germany, the 200 biggest companies are dominated by men. Women account for less than 11% of the members of the board. In science, only 17% of professorships are held by women. And even in the public sector, the percentage of women in leading position amounts merely to 30%. It is increasing, but it's a progress. It's a time to go still. On this background, the German public started a lively debate. It circles around the question, which instrument is best suited to increase women's share in leading positions? At least in all the declarations, all the debates in the German Bundestag, all parties and associations agree on the goal. But there's a difference, of course, which way is the best to choose. One prominent idea which was put forward by leftists but also by conservative groups is a compulsory quota. The rationale behind this, the situation will never change unless the state steps in and regulates what has not been achieved by other means. You need a mighty friend to break glass ceilings, the line of the argument goes. But is it really the right way to fight for a compulsory quota by a solution by law? Or is a quota really the right choice the Liberal Party should go for? A party that cherishes freedom, liberty and self-initiative as high values? Obviously, and this is my point of view, the answer is no. It's also the point of view of the parliamentary group. But as we pointed out, there is a lively debate also in my party. You see, the women's proportion in the German parliament is about 32%, it's the average. The share within my liberal group, the parliamentary group, is about 25%. We are the only parliamentary group in the German Bundestag which does not have a compulsory quota. For example, the Greens, they have a compulsory 50% quota, which means they have more women than men in the German Bundestag. And because of the situation that we need more women to be active also in politics and within our party, there is a big debate about this 40% quota. And there is a motion for the next Congress, for next party Congress in April. And we will have this debate if the party is for a 40% quota within our party and with the boards in our party. I think a quota is, however, linked with a number of serious problems. First of all, it would constitute a serious interference into private companies' decision-making processes. Further, there is a controversy how far such a solution would be consistent with the Constitution. And finally, a quota cannot cope with all the surrounding complexities given in the outside world. There are a number of industries where a fixed quota is simply not possible or cannot be fulfilled. For example, in the fields of construction, steel manufacturing, or engineering. So small and medium-sized companies, they will have a big problem if they would have to find women in these special fields. And I think a liberal solution must cover, well, the underlying problems. Why do we have not enough women engaged in politics or in parties? Why do we have women's leading in positions where they really are very important, like in DAX companies? So I think it's very important that we cover all the very different positions of women in Germany. So we decided to setting up a pact for increased women power, and this package we proposed involves tools and instruments to enhance women's share in leadership positions till 2013. Among other measures, we promote voluntary self-commitments with business associations, closer collaboration of women initiatives and the industry, and more flexible working time solution, as well as offers for childcare at the workplace. With this package, we expect to increase the women's share of leadership positions within the next 3 years significantly, and we will evaluate the outcomes in 2013, and we will then see if this package was successful or if we need more or other instruments. For my personal point of view, I can just tell you one thing. I started my political career in 1997. Politics for me was a hobby. I started on a local level. And I did not start my career in politics with a lot of work to end up as Quotenfrau, what we in Germany say, which is to end up as a woman who is just in parliament because of the first fixed quota. So I think we have a lot of bright and well-educated women, and I think the best way is to encourage them to that they can make their share. And this is also what the outcome was from the survey Christina presented the morning, that many think the best way is to encourage women and not to put instruments of coercion. So I'm looking forward to the debate. Thank you very much.